Since the leftists are trying to overthrow the United States of America and replace our republic with a socialist dictatorship, they're heavily promoting illegal immigration, demonizing the police, and are relentlessly attacking American culture, customs, symbols, and holidays. This is all obvious today, but back in the late 1940s and early 1950s, there were widespread concerns about communists and communist sympathizers working in Hollywood who may use their positions to do just that. Numerous individuals were blacklisted and basically banned from working in the industry to prevent them from spreading anti-American sentiments. In 1947, 10 writers and directors refused to testify about their suspected communist ties or sympathies before the House Un-American Activities Committee, likely because they didn't want to incriminate themselves. The Communist Purge back then was widely criticized as an overreaction and a witch hunt called McCarthyism, but it's obvious the seeds of Marxism have taken root in Hollywood, and now, as Tim Allen said, being a conservative in that town today is like being a Jew in 1930s Germany. Orson Bean, who was a popular game show host in the 1960s, later noted that sitcoms and movies hate old-fashioned values and that there's more anti-American propaganda today from Hollywood leftists than Soviets could have ever worked into our culture through their covert party members that were writing screenplays. A former KGB agent named Yuri Bezmenov, who defected to Canada in the 1970s, would later give a series of interviews and lectures in the United States detailing how the then Soviet Union was working to undermine the United States as part of their long-term goal to end our reign as the world's premier superpower. He described the process as ideological subversion, which was comprised of 4 different parts: demoralization, destabilization, crisis, and normalization. And he said that the Marxists knew that it would take an entire generation to accomplish, but were patiently and persistently working towards the goal. What ideological subversion basically means, he said, is to change Americans' perception of reality to such an extent that despite an abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interest of their families, their community, or their country. Basically, the communists planned to cause cultural chaos by encouraging Americans to embrace socially toxic ideas they knew would ultimately lead to our self-destruction down the road. And it's obvious that each phase of the ideological subversion plan has been successful. Hollywood has warped the minds of tens of millions of people, causing irreversible damage, brainwashing them into believing that America is an evil country built entirely on the backs of slaves, while the greedy 1% control all the wealth, so they don't even want to bother trying to earn an honest living. They've destabilized the nuclear family, causing a sociological crisis like the world has never seen, with the majority of children now being raised by single parents. They've normalized the most bizarre behaviors and lifestyles anyone could imagine. And recently, we've been faced with numerous crises, from the coronavirus pandemic to the ongoing racial conflicts from Black Lives Matter, all of which have thrown America into a tailspin. The ongoing attacks on American culture are stunningly similar to the Cultural Revolution in China, which was launched by communist dictator Mao Zedong in the 1960s to purge any remaining elements of capitalism from the country, along with anything else that may be an obstacle to his power. The Communist Party claimed that although the capitalists had been overthrown, they were still trying to use their old ideas, culture, customs, and habits of exploiting the classes to corrupt the masses, capture their minds, and stage a comeback. To solidify his power, Mao Zedong had his Red Guards, a network of student groups, target what were called the Four Olds, meaning old customs, old culture, old habits, and old ideas, in order to transform education, literature, and art in other parts of society to conform to the new socialist system. This is exactly what the social justice warriors are doing in the United States by targeting gender norms, the nuclear family, American holidays, our history, capitalism, free speech, and the list goes on. And if Joe Biden wins the 2020 election, the leftists are going to have the full power of the executive branch and potentially still a majority in Congress to achieve their goals. And soon it'll be up to you to stop them at the ballot box. And if you like my serious presentation here, I know you love my new book, Hollywood Propaganda: How TV, Movies, and Music Shape Our Culture. Order it in paperback from Amazon.com or download the ebook from Kindle, Google Play, iBooks, or Nook. And the book is filled with a lot of information I can't really cover here on YouTube without getting into trouble. So if you enjoyed my videos, I know you're going to love the book. It's so much better than you would think. And most people don't probably take me seriously because I clown around all the time, but maybe they should. So head on over to Amazon.com or click the link in the description below and check it out.